Gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. Maybe that's the best way of putting it.
Yep.
George Musser, 2019, describing every single glober's problem with gravity. It is not a force.
G'day everybody, where's Wally here? Well, today a fellow Aussie, Mitchell from Australia, posted up part 2 of his 3-part series, and he put some really bad stuff in there. Mitchell, did you think no one would go and check the FTFE George Musser interview? Man, that'd have to be the most blatant cherry pick. Man, that was cherry picking to the seasonal fruit picker level, mate. That really was bad. Because look, I'm going to play the Mitchell piece and the rest of what he should have played. Because right after what Mitchell played, FTFE, Craig, he went and clarified the whole thing. And Mitchell, you're so wrong. Mitchell, I think the only thing you can do now is take down this video.
Gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. Maybe that's the best way of putting it.
Yep.
George Musser, 2019, describing every single glober's problem with gravity. It is not a force, but everybody imagines it as a force. Thinking of it as a force is not going to make it a force.
Gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. Maybe that's the best way of putting it.
Yep, that's kind of what I've tried to explain to him, is that you can measure it as a force, you can do calculations to say it is a force, and for all intents and purposes, on our planet, with us, and in everyday physics, it is a force that you can measure.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Perfect.
From Wikipedia, gravity is not a force.
See, the thing is, Mitchell, gravity might not be a force, but it can be thought of a force. It's much the same as ordering an Uber and expecting a car and a little minibus shows up. It's not a car, but it does exactly the same thing, gets the job done, which is what George says. NASA use gravity and work with it as a force. It's only when you get into the extremes of trying to understand why gravity works that the Einsteinian special relativity stuff starts to kick in and become crucial.
Maybe I should put it this way. When describing the workings of gravity, you shouldn't use force concepts. When you describe the effects of gravity, yes, use force concepts. You're perfectly entitled to speak of gravity as a force when you're working through its implications, when you're working through why things fall, why things move in the way they do.
Okay.
It's only when you start to get into the deep questions, and those are the ones, of course, I was dealing with in that particular article. In other articles, I'm perfectly happy to describe, and I do describe gravity as a force.
But for all of these images to be validated due to curvature, we first need to ask a very critical question. How is water sticking to your curve? Gravity, of course, the ballers say. Mass of the water is attracted to the mass of the Earth. Well, that's a problem, isn't it? Because mass doesn't attract mass, as per Newtonian gravity. That's over 100 years old, and outdated, and no longer accepted science.
Really? That's outdated? I did not get the email on that one.
Gravity is not a force, and that's a big problem for you globers, because if there is no force holding water to any of your curvature...
Oh, the spinning wet tennis ball? Mitchell, surely not. Oh, come on, do I have to give you a lesson on this one? Look, that's going really, really fast, right? Remember, the Earth is rotating at half the speed of the hour hand on a clock. That's 0.007 RPM. Come on, it's so slow. And the force outwards due to whatever it is, centrifugal, Donald Trump, that one. And the outwards force due to spinning is what, 0.03 of a G or something like that. It's about the same as if you're on one of those little kiddies roundabouts in the little merry-go-round in the park. A 10-foot diameter one spinning at 1 revolution every 42 seconds produces the same outward force as our 1,000 mile per hour Earth. And of course, if you want to play with really big things that go really fast, how about have a look at this really small thing that goes really fast and tell me what you think. This is a drill turning at what, 3,000 RPM? And guess what linear speed it is? Not very much. 1, 2, 3 mile an hour. Printed circuit board drill. inside my drill. And I've got about 1 metre of cotton thread here, so let me just get back and see. So it goes all the way down to the ground. Now this is to look at what happens with a high speed rotating very small diameter object. I reckon this will take about 2 seconds to suck that right up. Here we go. Okay, well that worked really well. So for anyone who wants to talk about a spinning ball spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, talk about a spinning drill spinning at, you want to have a guess how fast that's spinning in linear speed? Try 1.17 miles per hour. Thank you.
Every single example of curvature you give us is null and void.
Oh, epic boat photos. I love that video. That is the best.
Angular resolution, which are all demonstrably valid.
Hey, whoever made that table with the coin, that's cheating. That table's sloping backwards. The coin's hid by the front edge of the table. Whoever did that's cheating. That proves nothing. Oh, Mitchell, you got me wondering, why is all this talk of gravity? I sure hope you don't get into there is no gradient without a container. Oh no, I hope you don't. Oh, you did, didn't you? Oh, let's have a look.
We don't allow you to beg the question of objects in space because you have not yet demonstrated that we can have gas pressure without a container in order for space to be a real place.
Yep, he did. He went and did it. Look, Mitchell, next week I'm going to have a video all about that. I'm going to call it at this point. I'm not going to bother with the rest of your nonsense.
It shows an object disappearing from the bottom up over a flat surface.
Okay, one last time. These are small, but the ones out there are far away. Small, far away. Ah, forget it.
Wanneer had je de dagen?